this thing has tentacles and I'm an anime girl. We all know what happens to anime girls and tentacles. Hi YouTube, I'm Maddie, and today we're reacting to Why These Fish Belong in a Horror Movie More Than Sharks by Casual Geographic. If you enjoy this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you and enjoy. Okay, let's go. Oh my god, that was a big boy. Also, what the fuck are those faces?
You know, the greatest trick Hollywood ever pulled was convincing the world that sharks are the only things to fear in the water. There be monsters.
Dude, what are these faces? They're low-key kind of derpy, actually. But yeah, no. Guys, the only thing I'm, like, scared of on Earth, other than heights, is the freaking deep ocean. The amount of times you hear about, like, the weird-ass creatures that are down there, I am terrified. I will never, well, I'll go close to an ocean, but I'll never voluntarily be anywhere near the deep sea, I promise you. Diving, no, not for me. I respect it. It's cool. I'm sure it looks pretty down there, but no.
In the last video, we talked about how sharks might just be the most misunderstood creatures in nature, with a PR team that works about as hard as a whiteout's brain after 6 rounds of CTE. They've been done so dirty, they've actually overshadowed the other ichthyological insanity spawned from Satan's septic tank. These are 7 fish that should honestly terrify you more than any shark. This isn't really to substitute one fear for another, but I do think these fish could make a much more traumatizing, nightmare-inducing horror flick than Jaws. And it starts right here. Those eyes belong to a pair of Arapaimas, also known as a Pirarucu. You've definitely seen them before.
Have
Does
I?
this video ring a bell?
No.
Definitely rang his.
Actually, I've maybe seen it before, but damn. Also, I just realized I learned something new today. I'm never going near an aquarium, too. Thought it was just the ocean. Nope, aquariums now are also terrifying. Yay.
It's one of the biggest freshwater middle fingers nature forgot to vault, usually growing to over 6 feet long and 200-something pounds. It's bad enough those are NBA point guard measurements, but the beefiest ones can get to 10 feet in length and weigh over 400 pounds.
Oh my god.
This Jurassic guppy usually eats other fish to go with fruits and seeds, but also birds and allegedly even monkeys sitting on branches too close to water. And if you don't believe that, it's because you haven't seen them hunt. They're explosively quick, and the aquatic black hole has been known to confuse feet for fish and violently pull people underwater.
Oh my goodness.
One zookeeper reportedly made the mistake of trying to retrieve a glove that had fallen into an Arapaima pool, and in a split second got his hand, wrist, and several fingers broken.
What? Oh, okay. I thought bitten off. Broken is still pretty bad, but I guess at least they don't have the jaw strength to cleanly bite off your hand. It helps me relax a little thinking about these things, you know.
The fact that a refrigerator-sized fish will yeet themselves out of water in self-defense.
Oh, why?
Let's talk about
why would you put her fingers in the water? If I see a fish that big, I'm not touching the water, dude.
That defense, the plus-size paiche is covered in heavily armored scales, not only tough enough to tank piranha attacks. Locals historically use them as nail files.
Oh,
they've also used their tongues
that's really big.
Since these fish have teeth growing out of a bony tongue that can be used to effectively crush struggling prey against the roof of their mouths. You know nature got in its bag when it made a fish that can breathe air, and the Antichrist of the Amazon has a modified swim bladder that was repurposed as lungs, meaning this flex of a fish can survive 24 hours out of water.
Ooh. That's crazy. 24 hours? But he can't do much. I mean, he's still just a fish. I was like, no, 24 hours, we're doomed. Bro, he doesn't have legs. It's fine. He can't hurt me, I think. Unless we're about to learn that he in fact can.
On one hand, that means they have to come up for air every 20 minutes or suffer the eternal shame of being a fish that finds a way to drown. But it also works out for them because in low oxygen water where most fish become slow and sluggish, the air merchant menace can pretty much go on a killing streak. Now the question is, could an Arapaima pack
oh my god.
While there's no indication
I actually got scared.
There are old stories of high-strung assault guppies effectively drowning people, likely by knocking them unconscious and leaving them incapacitated underwater. Not him, he's fine. You can unclench guidelines, he's good. But one man that almost wasn't was Jeremy Wade. He probably needs no introduction, but long story short, he's a zoologist who hosted the show River Monsters, which ended, but only because he caught every fish nature had to offer. But he almost caught an early life retirement after a pissed off Paima struck him square in the chest and nearly caused irreversible damage to his heart. Not only did this fish nearly have us singing, the suspect wasn't more than 90 pounds. Remember, the overachievers can press the scales at 400 or, 180 kilograms worth of kill a man. So yeah, they're
180 kilograms? Wait, is that how big the fish is? Did I just understand that correctly? That's insane.
Arapaima is a shack-sized, air-breathing, armor-plated predatory vacuum, and strangely enough, it's not the fish I'm most scared of in the Amazon. But we'll get to that. The piranha
yes, classic.
If you remember from an earlier video, piranhas might be just as misunderstood as sharks. They're mostly just scavenging opportunists that our childhoods convinced us were way more of an issue. You cannot say the same for their cousins found in the Congo basin of Central Africa.
Look, I will blame children's cartoons and video games for making me think piranhas are super fucking dangerous, because I was terrified. I thought they would be a huge issue when I grow up. Same as I thought that quicksand would be a huge issue in life when I grow up. I have yet to encounter either of the two. So yeah, I totally blame entertainment industry for that misconception.
The Goliath tigerfish can
wow, look at those teeth. Yeah, I'm so glad I'm staying away from rivers, bodies of water, lakes, the ocean. I'm so glad I'm a shut-in VTuber who doesn't leave her house.
Nearly 5 feet long, over 100 pounds, and they're what people were told piranhas
Oh wow,
are
look at that
10.
bite.
They're in the same order, but where piranhas are primarily a swimming cleanup crew, tigerfish actively hunt for their bodies. And you'll find out, nature built this prehistoric problem to do exactly that. They have sharp dagger-like teeth that many swear are comparable to that of a great white. Although I personally see them as more conical, like a crocodile.
Oh yeah.
Which is a coincidence since the saltwater variety are their only natural predators.
Oh.
And of course, the swimming expletive has also been known to murk smaller crocs. They have
What? They could murk crocs?
eerily strong eyesight to track prey, special organs to detect the vibrations they make underwater, and they're strong enough to brute force their way through the turbulent waters of their hunting grounds. They're considered one of the toughest freshwater fish time left behind. And
I'm sorry,
tigerfish are
that's
even
kind of
on
funny.
record snatching birds out of the air. Not just birds,
Oh, wow.
but swallows, some of the fastest and most maneuverable out there. Scientists studying them watched as 300 birds got permanently grounded by tigerfish in just over 2 weeks. They're so feared that in many places they're only known by one name, Benga, meaning the dangerous fish. There's even a story of a young girl wearing a belt made out of bottle caps in order to ward off evil spirits. Ironically, it did the exact opposite and attracted a tigerfish who apparently confused the bottle caps for fish scales and nearly bisected the girl, allegedly. It's an extremely fast, explosive vice grip with almost zero prey prejudice. And I'd still rather take a bite from them than the fish up next. And that's because next is the Candiru.
What?
And a lot of y'all already know what road we're going down.
No.
The Candiru.
No, okay, I have no idea what road we're going down on. This guy does not look scary at all. I feel like I could take this guy in a fight. But okay, let me take a guess why this one's dangerous. I assume it's, was the word venomous or poisonous correct? Either way, I think he can probably poison you, and probably that's why he's so dangerous. And or maybe he can get into your body somehow because he's really small. I don't know.
Is a tiny parasite in the Amazon.
Parasite.
Also named the vampire fish for their habit of invading the gills of larger fish and scraping the insides to feed off their
Scraping?
blood. And with backward-facing spines and a powerful bite, it's nearly impossible to shake it off before it completes its liquid transaction. The horror comes from the legend of Candiru being attracted to the chemicals in urine and swimming up the urethra of unlucky humans and getting stuck up there.
Urethra! Oh lord! Oh lord, I take everything back. That is worse than poison. Oh, imagining anything in your urethra is fucking terrifying. What? Is this real? He said it's legend, right?
That takes surgery to reverse. Imagine a serrated, sentient toothpick in your bathing suit business, and you'll see why the violation of gills is so feared. But how much of this is even real? Most of the reports of people getting penetrated by peenfish are really sus at best. Apparently, they're not even attracted to the ammonia in human urine in the first place. There's a good chance that the Candiru controversy came from European settlers coming home from long expeditions and telling these long, exaggerated stories to anyone who'd listen for status and attention. Yeah, but basically they were probably lying for clout. You have to remember, the whole piranha skinning a cow thing spawned from locals staging an event to impress the president. The truth is, your chances of peeing in the Amazon and getting frontal probed by a fish are about as much as you getting meal prepped by a shark or getting struck by lightning.
Let's go, guys. We've been cleared. It doesn't matter. It's not real. Now I think that this fish is a loser again that I could probably beat up. You know, I went through the whole roller coaster of emotions here, but now that I know it's probably not true, put me in the cage, we'll fight.
Oh, my bad. And getting struck by lightning. That being said, I'd rather get tag teamed by the pets of Poseidon and the forces of Zeus than have a bloodluster up my urethra, no Franklin. If the odds ain't zero, they're just too high for me. But I'll happily take a Candiru to the Mandiru, then run into aquatic op number 4. In fact, I'm so afraid of it, I actually had to break my own rule for this video. The Humboldt squid obviously isn't a fish, but it's the closest thing to a living nightmare on this list.
Yeah, isn't it huge?
At 5 feet, about 100 pounds, there are bigger squid. What sets Humboldts apart is they can hunt in packs of over 1,000.
Oh.
Yeah, that's 3 zeros like a Tony Snell stat line. Nicknamed Diablo Rojo, there are old fisherman tales of men falling overboard, getting swarmed, and never coming back up. There's also stories of them curiously approaching divers before flipping and trying to rip their masks off.
Damn.
But who needs stories when marine biologist Alex Kirstich can tell you about the time several homicidal squids grabbed him and attempted to drag him down into the dark maw of the abyss. It gets worse when you realize what exactly happens when a red devil decides to take you to hell. Humboldts aren't just highly intelligent, they're covered in tiny red chromatophores that they can use to rapidly change color in order to communicate with each other. It's like Morse code but for crippin' calamari. We don't know exactly what it means, but there's a good chance if a Humboldt confronts you and starts violently flashing red, it could be telling a bunch of others you can't see that you're free eats. So likely the last thing you'll see is
guys, there's a yummy meal over here. Get over here. Get over here.
Pulsing red before you get eaten alive. It doesn't help that satanic cephalopods are known for speed eating and are notorious for stripping fish to the bones faster than fishermen can reel them. Add a beak that can easily slice flesh and a bite force that can reportedly crack bone. And I think you see why I'm not exaggerating when I say I'll deal with every other fish on this list than a pack of predatory color coordinating squid. And I don't care what logic says. There's no doubt in my mind this squid would eat a human if they thought they could.
Look, for me, it's also clear that I'd rather face off against the other fish, but my reasoning additionally is this thing has tentacles and I'm an anime girl. We all know what happens to anime girls and tentacles, so just for that reason alone, like, I'm going nowhere near these guys, for real.
Why? Humboldt squid only live about a year. That rapid growth in a short time means they'll rarely pass up an easy meal, even if it's their own kind. Humboldts are highly cannibalistic, and they will not hesitate to turn on a weak or injured member of their own hunting party. There was a study done off the coast of Chile that found that out of over 2,000 squid, more than half held the remains of their own kind in their stomachs. It sounds to me that anything they see as weaker than them is something they can feed off, and the only saving grace for us is they usually only press things smaller than they are. But you don't even have to be seen as food for affiliated squids to be a problem. Like a true xenophobic, they react to most things they don't understand with aggression, and they've even attacked cameras and equipment and left them out of order. But to me, the most disturbing aspect of getting assaulted by squids is, even if you escape, if you panic and surface too fast, you can get the bends and past tense anyway. That type of psychological horror is what puts the Humboldt here, and wouldn't you know, emotional damage is another symptom of finding out about the next fish. Because now we got the stonefish. Not one of, but the most venomous fish.
Yeah, venomous.
It's armed
with
toxin, and symptoms of getting stung include crippling pain, shock, tissue death, and even paralysis.
So what I heard about this little guy is that he looks like a stone on the ground, so people can step on him. And then when they step on him, the venom gets like injected, I guess. And I think it can be deadly.
And speaking of pain, you can be in agony for over 12 hours, and it's enough of an eternal jihad to cause hallucinations. Anecdotally, there have been tourists who've stepped on a stonefish only to beg their doctors to chop off the whole foot. Then there's the added threat of, if you don't get out of the water quick enough, it won't even be the venom. You can get paralyzed and catch a stage fatality to drowning. Even if you survive, you can still suffer permanent nerve damage and severe muscle atrophy.
Okay, so earlier I said I would still go to the beach. I am also now no longer going to the beach. I'm staying away from all water. Shocking. I know I'm a VTuber. I technically already stay away from water, but I'm extra staying away from water. I'm gonna have to retire the bikini outfit, guys.
But that all wouldn't even be that bad if the stonefish wasn't nature's manifestation of a dick move. The most venomous animals on the planet usually dress with bright colors to warn the rest of the population that they're packing. Stonefish decided to do exactly none of that and instead cosplays as a stone, only to mortally punish you for its camouflage working. Like I said, it's like having invisibility but also serving the death penalty every time someone steps on your foot. Then you gotta add the fact that there are another fish that can survive 24 hours out of the water.
What?
And they have a literal switchblade growing out of their forehead. Yeah, I knew they were a problem ever since one nearly perma-napped Nigel Thornberry. A stone-cloaking toxic minefield of misery, but with stonefish anti-venom being the second most administered in Australia, today if you get stung, your chances of surviving are actually pretty good. Not like the next fish, because for this one, there is no antidote.
That looks like a face.
The stonefish might be the most venomous fish,
that's just a
but the
stonefish,
pufferfish
right?
is arguably the most poisonous thing alive. Quick rule of thumb on the difference: if it bites you and you die, it's venomous. If you bite it and you become a wuzz, it's poisonous.
I, for real, just wanted to Google that. Thank you so much, Casual Geographic. You always come through for me.
And few things are more poisonous than puffer tetrodotoxin, which is 1,200 times more of a death sentence than cyanide.
Oh,
Tetrodotoxin
wow.
interferes with signals between nerves
Is it
and
that
muscles,
bad?
causing muscle paralysis and a total shutdown.
Wow.
And of course, the fugu blowfish is considered a delicacy. But if
I did not know it was like that bad. I thought it's like mildly poisonous. I did not know it's like worse than cyanide. That's crazy. People eat that voluntarily. I'm not gonna trust a single person on earth to prepare that shit for me. I'll stick with salmon. Thank you very much.
the chef misses a single cut even by a little, you're instantly on the clock. You won't know that happened until your face goes numb and your lips and tongue get this weird prickling feeling. Then, you'd suddenly get a splitting headache and dizziness to go at vomiting and diarrhea as your body desperately tries to purge the poison. But it's already too late and you'd start getting paralyzed, starting with the hands and feet, but slowly spreading out. And by this point, you likely can't even call for help. Finally, it'd get harder and harder to breathe until you notice the room slowly fade to black, leading to either a coma, seizure, or just death. The permanent kind. Tetrodotoxin essentially flips a kill switch in your body, and there is no antidote. The only treatment is hooking you up to a respirator to breathe for you and praying it passes.
Oh, wow.
The poison puffball is such a problem, it makes you forget they also have teeth that can bite clean through your finger. In fact, it's more than enough to violate a scorpion.
Wow.
And I don't even know how to describe what they do to crabs. Turning crustacean into crustacean with a smile, no less, is criminal. There's nothing funny about getting caught in that bite, with reports of pufferfish mutilating the genitals of men, and one case in 2008 where a Cambodian child had his coin purse sliced in half by a pufferfish. And unlike the Candiru, this ain't a myth. Have your privates out by a puffer and you might just get... So that's sick.
Okay, I will say, I think pufferfish, or like my perception of pufferfish, was damaged by a Minecraft propaganda, because when you have it in Minecraft, I think it does very, very little damage to you. I feel like they should change that and make them like kill you immediately, because I felt like I never felt threatened by a pufferfish in that game ever. And that's about as far as I will go in terms of getting in contact with a pufferfish.
Of the Sinister Seven, but before we get to the last one, we got honorable mentions. The fact that there's a fish that weaponized electricity enough to decommission a caiman and we just accept that is kind of crazy.
Wow.
And the thing is, it might not even be the voltage, but it's getting knocked
It
out in
looks
shallow
derpy.
water that'll get you. Swordfish are one of the fastest things in the sea. They also have a
They also
built-in
look
melee
derpy.
weapon equipped capable of inflicting life-altering harm. In 2015, a Hawaiian man
Wow.
was fatally struck in the chest while trying to catch one. Another man in Malaysia bled to death after a swordfish yeeted itself out of the water and also RNG'd him in the chest. Swordfish are also on record shanking sharks and even bleeding out sea turtles. The sheep's head fish. Really only because of that mouth. Trypophobics be damned.
Yeah.
The Titan triggerfish is a highly aggressive honey badger with gills, capable of dishing out severe injuries with the same teeth they use for crunching coral, sea urchins, and even a crown of thorns starfish. The trigger might as well be named after their temper, and this 1.5-foot vibe check is a big reason why beginner divers never go back in the water. Speaking of big, the Goliath grouper.
Oh, wow.
At 8 feet up to 800 pounds, the fish the size of a small car feels more like a leftover Jurassic prop. Lucky for us, most divers describe it as a gentle giant with the temperament of a Saint Bernard. Although a Saint Bernard didn't allegedly swallow an entire kid in the Florida Keys.
Sheesh. I feel like if I saw that thing while diving, I would get terrified just from the size of it, but I'm glad to hear that they're apparently not that hostile.
Since we're on the subject, the last fish on this list are catfish.
Huh?
Yeah, that's kind of cheating. There's over 3,000
Really?
species of catfish, even including the genital jihad, the Candiru. Catfish are like the trash compactors of the fish family, which isn't a problem until you see just how big they can really get. And once a catfish gets big enough, there aren't a lot of things
They're
alive they won't
huge.
try to eat. We've seen armadillos, turtles, and even unaware seagulls get bored by a catfish. There's a species in France that figured out how to stalk and hunt bathing city pigeons. Another learned to wait by cave entrances to suck up any exhausted bats that fall in. There was even a catfish nicknamed Kuno the Killer who terrorized a German lake and somehow caught and ate someone's dog.
Terrorized a German lake. That's crazy. Oh, also, what is that screenshot? I paused that. No way.
All the shit I've talked about pelicans being just in fish form. The question is, if a catfish has ever eaten a live human, and it isn't even if they would, but if they could. The Wells catfish can grow to 10 feet long and cap out at 300 pounds. The Mekong catfish can also get to 10 feet, and the heaviest one ever recorded was pushing 650 pounds. If there's a catfish
that's like 300 kilograms.
Human, it should be one of
that
these.
Is crazy.
There's a slightly smaller catfish that was believed to be a legit man-eater. In the late 90s and early 2000s, a series of fatal attacks on people in the Gully River had people convinced there was something in the water hunting humans. In these attacks, victims were suddenly pulled underwater in front of people, only for their bodies to never be recovered.
That's how urban legends happen. And in the end, it was just some dumbass fish. That's great.
In 2007, Adal Kumar was swimming with friends when he was violently dragged underwater, and while he was never seen again, friends caught a glimpse of something that they could only describe as an elongated pig. Crocs and bull sharks were considered, but the prime suspect ended up being the goonch. At about over 6 feet, 200 pounds, the goonch is usually smaller than the whale.
He looks muscular as hell.
But it's feared that the practice of burning funeral pyres by the river led to the equal opportunists developing a taste for human flesh. And while it's a stretch to say a corpse-happy catfish could swallow an adult, it becomes a little less believable with children. There's no solid proof of a catfish catching a person, but they for sure can off one. The biggest ones can easily overpower you, if not just knock you out and drown you. Not to mention a majority are venomous, with those spines putting both experienced fishermen and oblivious bystanders in the hospital. They also have a nasty sandpaper-like bite that can easily draw blood. But what really makes them a living horror movie is their intelligence. The ones packing up pigeons, they weren't always doing that, but they pretty much ate everything else around them and were forced to adjust. So it's anyone's guess what could happen if they gain a taste for humans. And with catfish being swimming tongues with over 175,000 taste buds,
wow,
across
that's
their
a lot of
bodies,
fish.
Yeah, I doubt acquiring taste takes long. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this video. Make sure you drink water, hug your mother, try not to get catfished out here. If you'd like to see me swim with slightly less freaky fish, the full GoPro footage of me in Hawaii will be uploaded to my Patreon. And with that last second self-promo out the way, I'ma see y'all in the next one.
Thank you so much, Casual Geographic. What I learned from this is I will never go near the water, any sort of water, ever again in my entire life. I am committing to the VTuber lifestyle of being a 100% gamer, never washing myself, fuck fish. That's all I want to say. Thank you guys for watching. Goodbye.